So as a financial planner, I get a lot of questions about estate planning. So what is estate planning? It just simply means it's making sure that your assets go where you want them to go, either during your lifetime or upon your death. And so there's a lot of ways to accomplish this. I mean, you can go to an attorney, you can spend a lot of money on documents, and a lot of those you should definitely have, wills, medical directives, living wills, things like that. But you would be amazed what you can accomplish just through beneficiary designations. And so I want to talk a little bit about that and naming beneficiaries, how to do it. I want to give you a couple of examples on the right and wrong way to designate them and what's most common, really. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Also, if you like the content of my channel in general about retirement, please subscribe to it. And you'll be notified automatically about future videos that come out. I thought we could look at a couple of forms from the different custodians and just talk about some of the specifics on naming beneficiaries. So the first one I wanted to show you is just one of the big custodians, and this is their beneficiary section in one of their applications, like an IRA application. And so you'll see there that it says primary or contingent. So what the primary beneficiary just means is that where does that money go first upon my passing? And so I'm married, and so my spouse is named 100% primary beneficiary. Now, you're not limited to name one person. Usually there's multiple sections on a beneficiary designation form, and you can put certain percentages in there. You could do 10% to 10 different people if you wanted to. And so, but you just have to name the primary or contingent. So where does it go first? That's the primary. And if the primary beneficiary is not around, then the contingent beneficiary is who's going to receive that money. Okay, let's look at another custodian's form. This is very similar. You'll notice that there's boxes checked for the relationship, spouse, non-spouse, trust, name, social, date of birth, percentages. That's usually what they need. You can get away with name and date of birth with most of the major custodians. Now there's a box there that it looks like it says per stirpes. Well, it's pronounced per stirpes, like stirred peas, like I'm stirring my peas, but it's per stirpes. And what that means, I'm going to cover that. I'm going to give you a couple examples of what that means. And so you need to either check it or not check it. And the implications can be pretty important. So I just want to go over that and talk about what that means exactly. Here's another custodial beneficiary form. And so you'll see here, remember the first one was either primary or contingent. This is listed, this is showing you contingent beneficiaries. So there's another section for primary beneficiaries, and there's a whole nother section for contingent beneficiaries. So same stuff, what percentage, per stirpes, yes or no, beneficiary name, date of birth, social, what's the relationship, spouse, non-spouse. You'll see there that it also says trust. And so you don't have to name people as a beneficiary. You could name an entity like a trust. What if you have some very specific instructions that you want to take place once you pass away? That would be a reason to go to an attorney to get a trust set up. It's a very specific set of rules. Maybe you're trying to create some protection for your spouse or a minor child or a child with disabilities. There's a number of reasons why a trust could be a good thing. But anyway, I won't get into the weeds on that, but you can name a trust as a beneficiary for sure. So I want to show you just a typical structure, okay, for beneficiaries. So this is your typical structure right here. There's an account owner, and let's just pretend this account owner is married, and so you can see the line of inheritance there. So if she were to pass, the husband here would be the 100% primary beneficiary. Now they happen to have 2 children, and so let's say the husband had predeceased the wife. The contingent beneficiaries are the kids, and so they would receive that 50-50. So that's a very typical structure. I had a client many years ago that he'd come to see me, maybe once or twice a year. We talk about his financial plan, and I remember during one of those meetings, he told me that his spouse had passed away 2 years ago. And I was just racking my brain. I was thinking, did I miss that? I mean, how could I overlook and not acknowledge that when I'm meeting with this client? And I told him, I said, man, I don't recall you telling me about that. He said, John, I didn't tell you. He said, I couldn't tell you because I was grieving. So it took him 2 years to even be able to tell me that his wife had passed away. So it is not uncommon for somebody, their beneficiary passes away, and they just don't, for whatever reason, they're grieving, they just don't take the time, they don't know, they don't redo their beneficiaries to reflect, that, the new names and percentages on there. So I'm just telling you that could be the case at sometimes. Let's expand this family just a little bit, okay? So we got the account owner, and in this case we have two primary beneficiaries. Let's say account owner has 2 children, there's no spouses involved or whatnot, so there's 50-50 primary beneficiaries. So maybe the spouse has already passed, and now the account owner has 2 children that they want to leave their money to, and those 2 children also have their own families. Okay? Very typical structure here. So my question is, and I'm going to provide the answer as well, is that what happens if one of those children predeceases the account owner? Let's visualize that. So if this account owner has 2 children, one of the children passes, what happens to the portion that the person would have gotten had they not passed away? Does that mean that their kids are cut out of the deal? So does everything just go to the remaining primary beneficiary? Well, in many cases, yes, that is the case. So you can see here that one of the first primary beneficiary passed away, and so the remaining beneficiary is now the 100% primary beneficiary. That's where that per stirpes designation comes into play. What that means is if one of my beneficiaries passes away, do I want to cut out their family so their lineage gets nothing, from their portion, or does everything just go to the remaining spouse or to the remaining beneficiary? So that's what checking that box means. So if I had checked the per stirpes box, so now what happens, you see here, the original primary beneficiary passed away, and now their family is the 50% per stirpes or primary beneficiary, and the remaining child is the other 50% primary beneficiary. So that's a way to protect not only your children, let's say in this example, the 2 children that are 50-50, but also protect their family in case of a premature death. So I think that it's really important to take a look at this periodically, review the beneficiaries on your accounts. You can also do this on not just IRAs, but taxable accounts. If you had a taxable brokerage account, if you had a bank account, you can get what's called a TOD registration. That just means transfer on death. That basically is establishing a beneficiary on your taxable brokerage account. And so I would definitely recommend that. What happens if you didn't have beneficiaries? Well, basically, those assets are subject to probate, typically. And so probate is when your executor goes to court, presents a copy of the will, if there is one, and then the court decides who gets that money. It's a heck of a lot easier during your lifetime to just name the beneficiaries. Where do I want it to go? And the beneficiaries will supersede anything that says in your will. If I say in my will, hey, I want to leave everything to Aunt Susie, but on my actual accounts, I have a beneficiary listed of my spouse, it's going to go to my spouse. There's no doubt about that. So the beneficiaries are what matters. So if you have any questions, please look at my contact information. It's in the About section of my YouTube channel. And please like this video if you got some good information out of. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you'd like to be notified about future information. And thanks for watching my video.